Welcome back, guys. So now that we're done with Dishonored 1 and DLC, it's time to move on to the sequel. Aptly named Dishonored 2. So this game kind of refines even further what Death of the Unwelcome, which is refined in terms of non-lethal options. And the game also plays a lot better than it did in the previous game. In fact, I would probably call this the best Dishonored game. Aside from Death the Outsider, this is probably the second best Dishonored game, because Death the Outsider did a lot more for the series. So, like I said, this is my first time playing on PC, but I have played this game before. This is why they have no data on this version of the game. So we're going to start up a new campaign. And the first thing you'll notice, or at least the thing that makes me happy about this game, is there are all these difficulty modes here, and then there's one for custom. Because difficulty in Dishonored doesn't really matter, like developers don't have a preference for which ones you do, or there any and all the trophies are difficulty agnostic. They have this option here, which I first saw in Thief 4, the reboot, which that game is dog shit, but it had this really cool feature where you could customize difficulty, which we're going to do for this game. So I'm going to actually start custom difficulty. And what custom difficulty lets you do is it lets you modify a number of variables that are normally under the hood. And this, yeah, I agree, Cole. This is one of my favorite features. I think more games need to have stuff like this, where you can modify in very granular terms, very specific terms, how difficult you want the game to be in very, very specific ways. Like, I could make the quick access to real time here. I'm not going to do that, because I prefer having the slow time. We're going to lower the enemy's perception. And reduce overall perception. Yeah, we'll keep that. We'll have slightly hidden invisibility for lean. Constrained. Hearing. Distance you can lean out from behind cover is reduced by half. Yeah, we'll do a constrained lean. We'll do fast effect sleep toxin. But this lets you, like, for example, one of the ways I played my third run of this game was very easy to sneak, but if you got caught, you were basically fucking dead right off the bat because the combat would be brutal. And so, if, like, there's a specific variable in the difficulties that's not doing it for you, this is a really great way to kind of customize your experience. And yes, as E-Call just pointed out in the chat, this is fully customizable at any time in the game, and if you ever decide that you want to change these options, you're able to. There's nothing in the game, no penalty at all for modifying these conditions, even if you've already picked up a preset difficulty. I find this granular amount of choice for people who are into it, like myself, really, really interesting. Will be less noisy. But guards will be persistent. Guards will quick to reinforce. Limited health regen. High enemy damage. Groups will swarm me. High attack frequency. We'll have normal accuracy. We'll have very, very brave enemies. Manimal regen. Less ammo. No. Less ammo. Elixir speed. Slow regen. Weak elixirs. Tenacious enemies. And low stealth visibility. This is the way I like to play. I like to play highly lethal, but also really easy to sneak around enemies. But that's purely for my preferences. What I like about this is that, like, if you have a different preference, like if you prefer to have hard stealth easy combat, that's also available to you. That's also something you're allowed to do. And I appreciate games with this level of detail in their difficulty options. I
I
think more
remember
games should do
training
that,
with my
even
father
outside the
in the
emergency
years
sim
after the
genre.
rat plague. Someday, he said, our enemies will come for you.
This is the tutorial of the game. We're gonna go through it because it's part of the game. Even though I would normally skip it because I
The sounds
played the
and
game before.
smells of Dunwall never change much. This is my city.
And right now
what
I am
training regimen
playing.
does Father have in store for me today?
I am playing as
All
Emily.
right, Majesty. Let's see what you can do.
Emily has grown up in between the game, the two first games. I think it's like 12 to 17 years. I think it actually might be 17 years between the
Gotta
first
slide under.
two Dishonored games.
Hurry.
Oh, let's do it. Let's wait for it to come out.
Damn it. I've done this before. Alright, good.
And so Corvo is like, hey, you might get fucked at some point in the future, so you better learn how to fight so that if I'm not around, you can still take care of yourself. Alright, so
You'll have to sprint, vault the obstacle, then slide under.
Yes.
this is Emily training herself to be a bit more like her father. And Corvo has confirmed to be her father. I will play as Emily because I vastly prefer her power set over Corvo's. I think Corvo's skill set is honestly kind of weak, and I have since the first Dishonored game. And Emily's skill set is much more fascinating to me. And we will be playing with powers because I know Thanatos, a friend of mine, likes to play with no powers, but I enjoy the options that powers provide. But that's a good question you call. What I also like about this game is that I kind of wish I was playing on my PS4, but I'm not going to because loading time on PS4 are atrocious. But I kind of wish I did that because of the New Game Plus features in this game, which are really good New Game Plus features. Basically, you can play no matter which character you choose. You can play with both characters' powers in the same game. A chain to start climbing. Okay. Why is the Corvo Emperor of Dunwall? Because he doesn't have a...
If only I could spend every day running.
Because
and
he's not
jumping.
the Emperor. He is kind of the,
Now to test my agility.
I guess concubine of the Empress would be the right term.
Sprint to build up speed before
Because
you
they
jump.
aren't married. Emily is kind of their illegitimate child.
You've learned well. Let's see how quiet you are, young lady.
I don't think the Empress was actually ever married. I think she was single up until her death. If there was a husband in the mix, then they never mention him in any of the stories. But yes, Corvo and the Empress never married, but they had an affair. They had I don't know. His affair isn't the right word because there was never actually a husband in the mix, but they had a bond and they had sex, and in that sex, Emily was born.
I want you to sneak up on me, if you can. Get behind the enemy. Catch them by surprise.
Corvo was a royal protector, but not royalty in himself. He was a
That's my
low-born
girl.
commoner. And the reason they were married is implied that because
Or see you.
the Empress knew that
Didn't see
she
anything
would
at all.
never, the people would never accept him as the
Won't
king,
notice you if you're
or as the
above them.
emperor.
Overhead. Use cover to stay out of sight.
Also, in case you haven't noticed, Corvo is voiced by Garrett from the Thief games.
I need to watch the patrol route. Didn't hear a thing. In the words of
Don't make
Corvo
any
Atano,
sound.
hidden like a secret, quiet as the sunset.
No one has ever said that.
Remember, a pistol will wake up everyone in the building. Your crossbow is quiet.
Yeah, this game has some really impressive level design, especially given the fact that there's a chance that you might not even be using powers at all, even separated from your character. What's the tutorial here for? I don't actually know what the mission here is. Wish I had paid attention. Oh well. Okay, real talk though, what's the objective right now? Oh, there's a bell. Okay, I see it now. Wait, no, that's... Oh, okay. It has been far too long since I played this tutorial. I had to pay more attention. Meet with just say your dad.
Time for some
just
more
say your
weapons
dad.
and combat training. Let's beat each other up, shall we? Yes. You hit hard. That's my daughter. When someone swings a sword at you, block. Good. Well done. Block with your blade. Very good. You've got a natural instinct for fighting. If you time your block right, you'll throw an enemy off balance. Come on. You're quick. Smart move.
And now, there we go.
That'd stop even the most black-hearted killer. You can choke an enemy out, even in combat.
So this is a cool thing for non-lethal poke, is that if you do a parry right in this game, you can translate that into a chokehold and still non-lethally take out enemies. It really won't work in groups, but you can do it.
Feel better knowing you can take care of yourself.
Yeah, that one addition really
trouble
improves
does
your
finally
odds
come,
of success in
you're
a low
ready to
chaos
fight.
run. And there's one other that is so valuable, and we'll get to it when we play the main game, but it's so valuable that the fact they didn't include it in the original Dishonored makes no fucking sense. Unless you remember that non-lethal was added as Dishonored 1 as a whole, as an afterthought.
15 years ago, in the middle of a plague that nearly destroyed Dunwall.
Yes, I'm talking about that, Eclaw. I'm talking about being able to do a non-lethal drop takedown.
In the aftermath, the men who sent the assassin tried to use me as a pawn in a game of power. They would have succeeded, but my father, Corvo Attano, hunted them down and cut their conspiracy.
I love that they
to
stopped
pieces.
dancing around the familial ties between Corvo and Emily in this game. Like in Dishonored 1, it's
All
heavily
these years
implied, but never
later,
outright stated.
I'm
And the
either
very
one
first thing you do in
or
Dishonored
wannabe
2 is just outright state, oh yeah, by the way, Emily is Corvo's
Now, we
daughter.
face a new crisis.
Straight up.
A monster the papers are calling the Crown Killer has been picking off my enemies and dressing it up like my father and I are responsible. I don't know whether to get on a ship and sail to the opposite side of the world, or to have everyone around
So,
me
one
executed.
thing you'll notice about Emily is that she has a massive character flaw, and that although she's really athletic and she's trained and she's a skilled combatant, she tends to run away from her problems. She's still royalty and still thus not really equipped to handle actual real-world problems.
Watch your step, Majesty.
Especially with her Empress
I'm not
mother
looking
being
forward to all
dead
the
for
ceremony
over a decade
today.
and unable to raise her.
Your signet ring. There. You're ready.
Thank you, Alexei. Open the doors.
All hail Her Imperial Majesty, Emily Caldwin.
Loyal subjects, we're going through a difficult time, but today we honor my mother, the late Jessamine Caldwin. May her memory survive through the ages.
Emily,
You look tired, Father.
every year I think the anniversary of Jessamine's death will be easier, but it never is.
I wish Mother was still the Empress. I don't think I'm very good at this.
You're still learning. Don't worry about the rabble-rousers, and we'll catch the Crown Killer eventually.
The Crown Killer will
People
be
are
caught in
saying
Mission
it's
3.
you, that these assassinations are a misguided effort to protect me.
No, someone's trying to make us look guilty by targeting your enemies.
I wish I could just run away from all this.
Sometimes you do. You think I don't know about your nights out on the rooftops? Courage. The ceremony will be over soon.
Royal Protector and Father. I should have passed a law against that combination of titles years ago.
Your Majesty, before we begin the
Dishonored
day's
1
observances,
2
we have
carries
an
over
unexpected
this
visitor,
first game's
the
penchant
Duke
for very
of
flat
Serkonos.
voice acting.
Ramsey says the Duke is bringing special gifts.
And I know
That's
these voice actors are
intriguing.
good because I've seen them in other roles which they're really good at. So I have to fault the director. More likely the art direction that's the problem here, or the voice direction.
Amazing.
What is this, Ramsey? I didn't authorize those things.
Your Imperial Majesty and Royal Protector Corvo Attano, a native of our homeland. Serkonos offers condolences on this sorrowful day,
So-
and gifts to remind you of our nation, the rising star on the southern horizon.
We thank you, Your Grace.
Save your thanks. For now, I give
We're
you
gonna
the
get to it in a
greatest
second,
gift of all.
But this
family.
game's
I present
premise
the lost sister of
is
Jessamine
one of the
Caldwin,
weirdest things
your
I've ever
rightful
seen
Empress, Delilah Caldwin.
in
Impossible.
okay, not ever seen, but it's a really weird one. Doesn't really make any
My
sense.
dearest niece. Hello.
Also, remember her? We just take care of her,
My
but she's
father
back.
was Emperor Euhorn Jacob Caldwin, and Jessamine was my younger sister. At the time of her death, I wasn't ready to.
You also
make
notice that her voice
myself
actress is
known
different.
to
Like, that's a
you,
different person
and
doing
I was
that role.
forced to leave Dunwall, but now I'm home.
If you really are my mother's sister, you're welcome to stay as long as you like.
Little sparrow, blackened by bad memories, I'm here to relieve you of your crown. My father's promise, whispered in secret so many years ago, is now fulfilled.
Watch your tongue. Emily Caldwin is the daughter of Empress Jessamine Caldwin.
Royal Protector. How naive to think you could get away with these murders. Living in my palace has protected you, but that's over. Hear me, all of you. Your rightful
Yes, if you did not play the
empress
DLCs
has
as we did earlier,
All hail the
this
Empress
comes
Tala,
out of complete nowhere.
first of her name.
And if you did play
Arrest Emily
DLCs,
Caldwin and her
this
father
also
for the
comes out
crimes
of
her
nowhere.
murder.
What?
Because you took care of her at the last DLC.
Can't still my heart.
And there she goes, getting rid of Corvo's power. Because, of course, she can just do that. And I could play as the big, strong dude who is playing this the last game, or I could make the smart move and not.
Cast you in cold marble.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Kelly, because this is the other problem I have is that in Royal Society,
Sweet girl.
to prove
Over
your
time, you will
claim
come
to the throne, you would need some
Perhaps
sort
someday
of
you'll see me as the
royal
mother you
symbol,
lost.
some sort of
But until
proof
then,
that
you
you are
kept
part of
out
the
of
family.
I'll lock Lady
You
Emily
can't
in
just
the chambers,
say
and then I'll bring her
that
to
you're
court.
this daughter of the emperor. And there was no DNA test at the time that
My father lost it all when I was a boy, so now I wear this uniform.
and there's no
I send
DNA
20-year-olds
tests.
out to patrol
So
the Rose Garden
there's
instead
no
of drinking
evidence
with
to
the men
support her
from the shooting
claim.
club.
Whether she is the legitimate daughter of the emperor or not, she has no claim to the throne because she
Captain
doesn't have
Ramsay,
any
I heard
anything
shouting.
backing that claim
Lady
up.
Emily, what happened?
It'll be all Captain Mayhew.
You just kind of have to go with the game and assume that she has some proof somewhere that her claim is legitimate.
kind of sword
Otherwise,
folds
this
in
makes
half?
no fucking sense. Also, they do explain how she got out of the void, but if you're playing this game your first time, you don't really know that. Yes, or you need the people to back her,
There's
which
a legend in
there
the Tower
isn't.
Guard about the Empress's last resort, a safe room
There are a
inside
couple
your
of guards
chambers
who were
holding enough
traitorous.
gold to buy a good-sized island.
but the
They
people
say
are
that this ring
not
is
on
one of
board
the
with
only
this.
two keys to exist.
So our father is now a statue, and now we have to escape our own throne room.
What happened? Alexei. The throne room. Father. Nothing I can do alone. I need to get out of here.
All right. See if there's anything valuable to steal. There isn't. So it took me an embarrassingly long time my first run to figure out what you're supposed to do in this room. You're supposed to just open the window and go outside. It took
How
me
many
longer than
times
I
have I
care
looked
to
at that
admit
skyline?
to
It feels like
figure this
everything
out.
just changed.
But there you go.
Delilah is some sort of witch. How is this possible?
You're all right. I was worried.
What do you mean, how is this possible? Your father has magic. How do you think this is possible?
Where's the royal protector?
There's a
Also,
coup
you
underway.
generally don't think to
My
use the
father
windows
is.
in a
He's
game like
imprisoned,
this.
for lack of a better word.
Not just that you think they'd
You've
lock
got
it,
to
but
get
you
out
think
of the
that
tower.
there would
Through
be
your
like a
safe
vent or
room.
somewhere.
There was a captain earlier
Or something.
today down at the docks, looking for the royal protector. Find her. Get out of Dunwall.
So we take our father's blade,
Alexei, I'm sorry. Goodbye.
and that will be our weapon for the rest of the game. We're gonna go for a low chaos run of this game,
These
but I
bastards are
make
working with
no
Ramsay and the Duke of
promises.
Serkonos.
Yeah, they don't really signpost it terribly well what you're supposed to do in that room. So thank God I played this game a couple times so I know, but that was really annoying my first run of the game. So I was trying to do a drop assassination, a drop takedown, but the lamp got in the way. So we can't actually leave yet because our only way out is guarded by the signet ring.
Throne room blocked off. We should have the time we need. Just stay here and stall anyone who comes by. I'll be back when I've searched the royal chambers, assuming I don't accidentally lock myself in this damn safe room.
We'll cover for you if anyone from the Duke's party returns. This is exciting. Everything's changing.
Yes, the natural order is reasserting itself. The Ramseys once hosted the king and queen of Morley. Did you know that? I spent my childhood playing with the Buntings and the Boyles, the cream of society.
Yeah.
Very soon you'll be back at the top, Captain.
Dishonored does have a problem with the ragdoll physics and putting people in chairs. And how those physics interact with each other. It's a problem. Oh.
Where are you hiding?
Okay.
Yeah, he's been knocked out.
Hey! Why'd you turn your back on me, dude? My man! You idiot!
This won't leave my hand again.
Hey! We got a ring back. Now we just gotta take care of this fool. I believe there's still one guard up here, but that really won't matter that much. Yeah, I have done that where you use the sleep dart even though he's right there because you're afraid Chairfix is gonna fuck something up really royally. No pun intended. But now that we have the signet ring, we can
Anton
use
Sokolov made this lock.
this Sokolov lock to access our royal escape room. Oh, I haven't forgot about you. And the non-lethal takedown of this poor fool is to just kind of leave him here. He doesn't have the ring, so he can't escape.
Now you've got what you wanted, Ramsey.
And so he's locked up
the
in here.
Imperial Suite atop Dunwall Tower. Stay put until this is all set straight, Ramsey. Enjoy the rations and well water, sleeping next to a fortune. I'd better take these.
And so we're going to stock up on stuff from this room before we leave. Now, in these books, I don't know which book it is, but they mention that Emily had... Oh, here it is. Wyman. This is a letter from Emily's lover. But they deliberately don't mention the lover's gender. Because the developers wanted so that Emily could be either gay or straight or anywhere in between. No, there is enough provisions in here to last a couple months. So he will be able to, if he rations himself out, he'll be able to survive. But he won't be able to escape. He'll just be trapped here. With
The
all
reserves
this
won't help
gold.
against Delilah, even if I had a way to carry it all out of here.
That he can't actually spend.
I have a feeling I'll need these.
Yeah, probably not get very far today because we had to finish the DLC first, but we'll see how much progress we can actually make. We might actually make more than I'm afraid we will be able to. So now we have our sword and a gun. We're just gonna leave. And now that he's trapped here, he can eat and drink tap water. eat meals ready to eat and drink tap water up until we find him again at the end of the game. We have to come back to Dunwall. Spoiler: we come back to Dunwall at the end of the game to take care of Delilah. I'm sure that's the surprise to exactly nobody here, even if you haven't played this
Until
one
I
before.
understand this, I have to go into hiding. I should make my way to the docks.
We'll take this for money. And now
Gotta get out of Dunwall.
we can make our way down and onto the city streets. You can fall from moderate without taking damage. Yeah, the Clockwork Mansion is one of my
What
favorite
do I
levels in the
have to
game,
do to
but I
help my
prefer
father?
cracking the slab.
What do I have to become?
That's my favorite level in the game by far. So, it's not over here, it's over here. One of the smartest things they added to this game that I don't know, like, the only reason they didn't put it in the original game is because they didn't think of non-lethal players at the time.
You're not fit for the watch uniform.
You can now totally just do a non-lethal drop takedown, which is such a necessary feature for this kind of game. I don't know, like, I don't know why they didn't add it in the Dow DLC, but now that we've gone to the pure sequel, it's a necessary feature, and it's loud because slamming someone's face into the pavement is a loud, brutal action, but it is non-lethal. So you can still. The cast system was thrown at the very last minute of the game, Kelly. It wasn't something they planned to add in the game originally. You're supposed to be able to kill targets and that be the end of it. But when they added the cast system when they realized the testers stopped tried to play the game without killing
Corporal
people.
Moore checked the royal quarters, and Emily Caldwin has apparently fled the
So
town.
that's the secret of Dishonored, is that the chaos system that it's known for was a last minute addition to the game.
Sink or swim. There's no way to turn back now.
They didn't actually anticipate people wanting to play non-lethal. They just kind of happened, and all the non-lethal takedowns were last-minute additions. Every part of that cast system was added at the very last possible second before the game was shipped.
For a whiskey or something. Maybe one of them
That's the secret. That's and since they knew going into this game that they were going to have that option, they changed some stuff around.
Perfect. The former Empress, Emily Caldwin, has been accused of high crimes against the state. Anyone caught harboring her is equally guilty of treason.
So, come sequel
I
time,
saw someone right here.
now that we know that
Let's
people
check the
like
place
non-lethal
just in
options,
case.
we give them to them. Or Arcane decided to give them some. And that is why you get the drop takedown. That's why you start getting stuff like stun mines and that kind of thing. Because the developers have finally realized that this is a viable way to play the game, and it should be a viable way to play the game. Yeah, and if you look at the options here in Dishonored 2, they definitely go a long way towards fixing that problem of non-lethal being some really, really extreme form of petty revenge. They definitely fixed that problem because the non-lethal takedowns in this game feel a lot more quote-unquote humane.
Open this door. Oh, maybe the wind or something.
Like, especially with Lady Bull in particular, that was a fucking that was a needlessly vicious thing to do to that woman, to the point where I prefer killing her.
Are you hiding? He's just been knocked out.
Where are you? Nothing in here? Yeah, And the thing with the first game that's really weird is that you can do it almost entirely without powers, but there is like exactly 1 or 2 points in the game where you basically can't proceed without using the low level.
You don't stand a chance anyway.
So since mostly Flesh and Steel was a thing that people tried to do in the first game, they made the fully Flesh and Steel playthrough viable in Dishonored 2, which is another one of those like small touches that I can really appreciate. Also, yoink. So as we play Dishonored 2, you'll notice that there's just a lot more attention or a lot more bones thrown to the kind of players who aren't just loud and vicious killers. And it's really appreciated. So we're gonna take a little detour to this little manor of Dr. Galvani, who you might remember from the first game as not a target, but someone we stole from quite liberally. This is his new house. Yeah, also they separate the scales from loud and quiet and lethal and non-lethal as separate things they track. So you can end up being loud non-lethal or silent lethal in this game. Thank you all for pointing that out. And since this is the very first safe in the game, obviously there's only one code it could possibly have. Good old 451. Get some coins, and that's about it. But yeah, because they add the option for like the non-lethal combat where you can parry someone and then knock them out, even though you're probably gonna end up killing them because the guards are gonna swing at you while you're choking them out. It's just there's a lot more viable options for the non-lethal player than there were ever in the base game. We are going to try to go stealth non-lethal, but this will end up realistically turning into loud non-lethal.
Anyone's gonna die, yeah. But please.
Just gathering some supplies.
Kiela, sorry you missed us. I'll be taking the children away from Dunwall earlier than expected. A few weeks before the upcoming anniversary of Empress Jessamines' death. Things are about to get bad, and I'm not just talking about the crown killer. Besides, there's
No one here, so no. Fuck, I didn't mean to consume that. That's okay though.
Attention, Dunwall citizens.
Shut up.
Former Empress Emily Caldwin is now wanted for treason. Any of you found harboring Emily Caldwin will be fined and arrested.
Alright, so there's nothing here, but a good bit of money.
You're advised to stay indoors during this time of unrest.
Here comes the guard.
Hope they accept my transfer. I've got to get over to one of the other districts.
I hope you get your own squad. Alright, so just gonna leave those guards in Central Street alone because they're not worth it. They're super not worth it in my experience. The civilians don't alert you to the guards unless they see something like really heinous being done.
The Caldwins have finally fallen. Never. Shh.
We shouldn't be talking about this.
Until later, then.
Please don't turn around. And yoink!
Buddy!
What?
Here?
Someone protect me!
I don't want to die!
It's not right!
Guard! Someone!
That sucks. And yoink! Yeah, I'm really excited for the Clockwork Mansion once we get to that mission. That's one of my like that is a really that is Arcane showing off that mission. That's what that is. That's Arcane saying, look at what the awesome shit we can do in this engine. Because we're good designers, we can do shit like this. That's what they're saying with that. They don't. If Harvey Smith won't ever admit to doing that, but that's what he's totally doing.
I didn't sign up to fight some freak like the Crown Killer, the cannibal and whatnot.
Is it just you? Is it just you? Is there anyone over there?
This is a terrible assignment. Who wants to keep watch over a place where someone was just
I think it's just you.
Even if it was an ass like Ichabod Boyle.
Huh? Where
Oh.
did you go?
Oh well, it was 2 people, but that's not a big deal. Yeah, I got the achievement my first time too, playing through the Clockwork Manor. But I also played my first run through a bit of Scale Slimming. I did Ghost non-lethal on hard, which is not an advisable thing to do in your very first run of the game. It was really painful towards the end, but it prepared me for doing stuff like this a bit more improvisationally. Yeah, just a heads up, never make your first run in Dishonored game Ghost non-lethal. It's setting yourself up for either failure or misery. Do that kind of shit after you get an idea of what the map looks like. Otherwise, it's just painful. But yeah, I got my I got the achievement for the Clockwork Manor just by virtue of getting the achievement for Ghost in that run. Bone charms, cool. Yeah, I got everything here. The very first playthrough I recommend you do is not to aim for either lethal or non-lethal or loud or quiet. It's just to go with the flow, just to kind of improvise and let yourself be taken in by the chaos of the system, which is what I'm doing for this run. I'm going to try, quote unquote, for non-lethal, but this is an improvisation run. Anything goes. If I go in loud, whatever. If I go in quiet, whatever. Just whatever happens to be
the captain of that ship.
the order of the day.
What? What am I supposed to do now?
Oh,
My concern,
nope.
citizen. I'd advise you to return to your home.
I wonder.
If I can't get through, that's it for my shop. The entire month will be ruined.
Trust me. You don't want to be out on the streets right now.
Yeah, the way I'm trying to do this playthrough is what I recommend most people do, is just to go with the flow.
People of Dunwall, aiding a fugitive
I love that
is
you
now
can
punishable by
choke
death.
someone.
Aid the city watch in this time of transition.
Stop looking. Stop looking. I said stop looking. You're not looking. You shouldn't be looking.
I told her, your advice, just pay the fine and be done with it. No use making trouble.
I said stop looking. You're looking. You shouldn't be looking. I said stop looking!
What happened here? Someone! Anyone!
He
I don't wanna
looked.
die.
You shouldn't have looked. I kind of like that the game has a stance on lethality, even if I don't necessarily agree with their hard line on that stance. I think it's cool that the game is at least has a moral message, since so many other games pretend that they don't have one. Like Harvey Smith has said flat out that he thinks that killing is wrong, period, and that you should be punished for being lethal. Which, you know, I respect him for at least having a stance, whereas someone like Ubisoft will cower out. I don't care if you see me, I'm already at my goal. I missed a couple coins, but this is actually a pretty good run of the first level.
Lady, you want to hear what I've got to say. I guarantee it.
Recognize her? Do
Lady
you?
Emily.
Because I did the first time I saw her.
Stamped on half the coins in the city.
There's a coup underway, and I'm being blamed for the Crown Killer murders. I don't care what my face looks like.
My name's Megan Foster. I work with an old ally of yours.
Yes and
Anton
no, her name
Sokolov.
is Megan Foster.
We learned something scary down in the south. And I came to warn you.
I know, Anton. But Corvo's gone. The Duke of Serkonos is here with a woman named Delilah. They massacred everyone in the throne room. Then she did something I can't explain.
It's magic!
There was nothing to do but run.
Sometimes that's all you can
What do you mean you can't explain
This
it?
is my ship, the Dreadful Whale. We can head out as soon as you're ready.
I need to get to Karnaca where the Crown Killer murders started. Delilah must have been down there for a while, and I've got to figure out what's going on.
You're Corvo's daughter. I'll give you that.
Yeah, this is Billy Lurk.
Should we go?
I was trying to be coy, but this is Billy Lurk from the DLC.
Yes,
the lieutenant of Dowd who betrayed him in the last game, and canonically, Dowd forgave her and she left. She found Sokolov in that time, took a new name, and they've kind of bonded over their mutual self-hatred. Didn't kill anyone, but I got seen a lot. So I got mostly stealth and lethal. Not fully stealth, but completely non-lethal. Actually, that was not a bad run by any means. Oh, thanks for hosting, Chris. I appreciate it. People who are joining me from Chris's stream, welcome. My name is Brandon Carey. I go by New Dark Cloud Online, and we are streaming Dishonored 2 right now. We just finished the mission 1, and now we're ready to present it with a choice. People who played this game before will know this choice,
Still aboard Megan's ship.
and they'll probably know what I'm going to pick.
Feels odd. What is this place? Where am I?
I am really surprised her father never
can feel
once
something
told her
moving
about the
closer.
void.
Watching.
Because that's the thing that'd be a big thing to tell your daughter.
Empress Emily Caldwin. I am a friend of your father's from the bad old days.
Bad old days.
I never expected us to meet.
I actually
watched
like
you
this
murdered by the
actor's
hands of
performance
students
more
who
than did the
wanted to
old
rule Empire.
Outsiders.
Then you were rescued by a man in a strange mask. I thought that was the end of the excitement. But someone yanked the rug from under your feet. You've lost your throne and your father. And I promise.
Same, Kelly. I have no idea why she never asked her father, why don't you have magic powers? Or why do you have magic
What are you
powers?
prepared to do about it? Your Imperial Majesty? And are you clever enough to do it without spilling a river of blood? I asked Corvo those questions 15 years
15
ago.
years. Okay, this game takes 15
is
years
the
after the
moment that
original game.
changed him. Now it's your turn.
Yeah, I really like it. Thank you for mentioning it. I was about to mention it when you meet him as Corvo. He goes, "Hey, Corvo, do I even need to say it? You lost another Empress." Like a fucking troll, and I honestly love the delivery of that line. If you haven't seen it, you should probably look it up because it's delightful. Like, the Outsider becomes the world's biggest troll in like 2 lines.
It burns from the inside. I feel like I'm standing at the
And yes,
edge.
we are going powers because Emily's skill set is fucking amazing. Yeah, he's a massive dick, but I love it.
All the stories, they're true.
Okay, so Corvo did tell her about magic. Then why are you surprised when people can do it? Yeah, Emily does not have Blink. You'll notice she has a power called Far Reach, which lets her kind of hook
This is how I'm going to save my father and reclaim the throne.
onto ledges, whereas Corvo did a straight teleportation. Emily hooks onto things and then launches herself forward. And you can use this to do some like pretty tricky jumps and propel yourself even farther than you normally could.
Corvo mentioned being here once.
I don't know if I'd call it objectively worse, but it definitely requires a lot more skill. Like, it has a higher skill ceiling, but also a higher skill floor than Blink does.
You remember? It's been so long. And you've been through so much.
Also, the first game implied that the heart was the Empress's heart. Again, in Dishonored 2, they kind of get rid of the pretense and just outright state that the heart that you use is still the Empress's heart.
In my hand, but somewhere else.
Only the last of my essence. With you for a while. If only I could
believe
reach
this is the same voice actress from the first game that's doing this role.
And take you into my arms. But I have this to offer. My gift and my curse.
That is correct, Ecall. Blink you can upgrade to have the time stop from Death of the Outsider, whereas Far Reach you can upgrade to slow time as you are in the air, which is not the same thing, and honestly, that part is objectively a worse upgrade. And even in my New Game Plus runs, I will play as Emily, but I will abandon Far Reach for Blink because I do prefer I don't prefer Blink to Far Reach. But yeah, like where the Outsider in the first game is this fucking mysterious dude, they definitely do a lot more with him in Dishonored 2. And Death of the Outsider also does a lot with him, as is fitting for a game about his death.
There's no one quite like Delilah. I watched her pull herself up from blood and filth, until she was in a position to steal from the wisest scholars in the Empire. Survival and ambition, art and magic, with a cunning that makes fawning sycophants of those around her, all of it leading to what you saw at Dunwall Tower. Delilah's playing the long game. She took all the abuse the world could deal out, and now she has a crown. But I'll let you in on a secret.
Yeah, they make these interactions much more dynamic in Dishonored 2 by giving him movement and animation. That the first game it was just like crossing my arms, looking at you from above because that's what I do. Whereas in this game he's much more animated, and that really does help the character a lot.
When I was 10 years old, bored with my lessons, I dreamed about sword fighting and sailing the ocean.
I definitely agree with you.
Now I'm realizing that the world is stranger than I ever imagined. Everything I know has been turned on its head, but I'm dealing with it the best I can. When you look at the great jeweled map at Dunwall Tower, Karnaca is the southernmost port in the Empire. A fat, red ruby. That's how I always thought of it. Up close, the city smells like the ocean and strange spices. Up close, it's a tangled story of blood and ambition. The birthplace of my father. Megan Foster is a stranger, but there's something that makes me want to trust her, despite her guarded disposition. She got me out of Dunwall, and I need answers. Delilah and the Duke made me look like a murderer.
I don't know if you're supposed to not know that Megan Foster is Billy Orker. You're just kind of like... That's the thing you can, like, they expect you to guess right overhead. It feels like you're supposed to know, but they're super coy about it in a way that I'm not sure if they expected people to figure it out right off the bat. Like how the Arkham Knight ended up being Jason Todd, even though everyone figured, like, who else could it fucking be? Well, that's the cool thing about the Outsider Recall is that, in lore, because he sees all the possible timelines except for the ones that end in his death. So, he's indifferent towards you, not because he thinks like you're a bad person, but because he's seen everything you could possibly do in that moment. And so whatever you actually end up doing, you already know that's a possibility. Like, that's why he gives powers to people, is just to kind of see, like, if they can prove to be more than just another fucking bastard. If they can actually do something right. Like, he's like, okay, you're in a position where if I give you powers, like, there's a lot of branching paths that could go. I hope that you end up choosing one of the right ones, but, I mean, I don't fucking really care. I hope you end up doing the right thing, but frankly, I don't expect you to, and I don't really care. Yeah, late game they do like I've never had a playthrough with just not where I say she's Billy Lurk, but I wonder if you're like that's something that like you're not supposed to know. Like you're supposed to think like, oh, who could this mysterious woman be, even though there's like only a single black woman in the entire franchise.
Must be cursed. Daft old man. This is some shit. Back to that city. What would we have done in the old days? All sharp metal and shadows of the city.
First off, let's get this rune over here. Just kind of showing off the heart's abilities. Yeah, you get the heart even if you don't have the powers, and that's for story reasons. And if you get a rune when you don't have any powers, because runes used to upgrade your powers in this game, you just get money instead. You get 200 coins. But since I have powers, let's actually start seeing what we can do in terms of unlocking shit. I wonder, figure out what I actually want to do. I'm probably going to skip out on dark vision. Let's see. Agility. Yeah, I want agility. That's good. Start. Because agility lets you double jump, and double jump is a very good skill for exploration. Far range lets you pull objects towards you. I might actually go for that, because decelerate isn't actually terribly useful. So I might at least go for pull objects. I don't know if I'll go for pull enemies or not, but I do want to, after that, start kind of branching out into some of this other stuff. Like, I don't need bloodthirsty, but bone charm crafting will end up being invaluable. Yeah, let's get reflexes to dodge projectiles. They actually also implemented a system where, in Dishonored 1, if you use the heart on somebody, you could, if you use the heart on someone with Dishonored 1, it would give you, like, a snippet about them, and the NPCs would have their own dialogue for the heart. Like this.
You are alone.
But generic NPCs would have their own generic pool depending on what kind of NPC they are. In this game, and some would be like, oh man, this guy's only doing his job, or oh man, this guy's a fucking serial rapist. And in the base game, that would be treated differently in Great Chaos, or they'd be treated the same in Chaos. So if you killed the guy who's just doing his job versus the alleged rapist, you would get the same Chaos penalty. Whereas in this game, they actually do factor in those tidbits into your chaos. So there are high, like mid, and low chaos snippets of heart hints, and those do affect your chaos depending on what kind of person you kill in different ways. That they're weighted.
You're up. When you're ready to talk, I'll tell you what I know.
I find that to be very interesting.
I can see why you like her. She's almost as secretive as you.
We've been en route for 2 weeks. I hope Sokolov is all right. Wherever he is.
Dearest Emily, or must I say, Your Imperial Majesty, I have something that you would call.
All right. You've explained part of it. But what were you and Sokolov doing here?
Yeah, they explain why you can have the heart out and no one freaks out by saying that only Emily and people cursed with the Outsider's mark can see the heart.
There are reports
Normal
about
people,
tensions
they can't
corruption,
see or hear
street violence. I didn't give it much mind. Usually the local authorities resolve that sort of thing.
The new Duke has let things slide. But Sokolov concluded he might be the head of the conspiracy. He came in looking shocked, and if you've heard his after-dinner stories, you know that's unusual. We were going to set out for Dunwall, but something happened.
The Crown Killer.
Yes, the hatch ripped open and Sokolov screamed. All I caught was a glimpse of someone carrying him across the deck.
It's weird that like they hype up the Crown Killer as this really like big bad,
maybe the Duke is
and then
a
make
patient of hers.
the Crown Killer your very first target of the game. Like the very first person you
Adamire.
assassinate
All right. I'll get inside.
is the Crown Killer.
The Crown Killer has to be eliminated, and if the Alchemist will cooperate, maybe I can learn something about what happened to Sokolov. Wish me luck.
If you need my luck, Sokolov's as good as dead. When you get done at the Institute, disable the watchtower. Once it's down, I'll bring the boat around. We'll take the skiff to the shore when you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like she's spending her whole time with her sword in hand, clenching nothing in your other hand.
The jewel of the South. My
Perfect.
father's birthplace.
Completely ordinary. Not at all scary or suspicious or murdery. So our objectives are twofold. We are to find the alchemist Adamire and use her to figure out who the Crown Killer is and then take the Crown Killer out. But before we do any of that, we have to actually get to Adamire Institute.
Ready for me to drop you at the docks?
Let's
I also
go
like
see
that
the
instead of
streets where
having
my
the
father grew up.
mask,
Off we go then.
It won't do to be
she
recognized.
brings her shirt over her face like this, and that's her disguise. That hide her face is like this thing. This is what this is her disguise. It's just covering her face with like a face mask. And Corvo does get the death mask in his campaign, which is it's just silly.
I'd take you to Adamire by boat, but security's too tight. The Grand Guard have a watchtower there. Go inland and use the carriage station.
At least it's more plausible than the fucking death mask and like no
Before
one
his
commenting on the
death,
fact
old
that you
Duke
look
of
like
Sarkona
fucking
spent decades
the
building
Grim
up
Reaper.
Kamaka. After Duke Luca Abel took over, he started draining the wealth out of the
Like
city
you
as fast
see
as
the
he could.
film covering the mask, like, oh, okay, that person doesn't want their identity known. That's fine,
Having
whatever.
more fun
You see someone with the
here
fucking
than
Grim
we've
Reaper
done
mask, you have fucking
since.
questions.
Watch yourself.
That's a
Adamire.
skeezy dude.
The Duke's given the Grand Guard run of the city. Strangers get attacked on sight.
I'll keep my head down.
This is a good spot. Reach Adamire, take out the Crown Killer, and find out where Sokolov was taken.
Correct.
The alchemist, Hypatia. She'll help if she can. Sokolov likes her.
I'll see you later at Adamire. Just wait to bring up the boat until after I've disabled the watchtower.
I go with it only because Emily didn't have time to prepare like a proper disguise, so it's like she's just doing
Welcome to Karnaca,
what comes naturally.
Which ship is that out there? Check on the grind. You know the skipper?
Sometimes I think she's deaf.
The dreadful whale.
No, it's not.
That's
I like the name of that ship, Dreadful Whale, and I am aware of what the anagram for it is. If you since we already mentioned that Megan Foster is Billy Lurk, Dreadful Whale is an anagram for farewell, Dowd. So like that's a little symbolic, a symbolic gesture towards her mentor, which I find that's a really neat little touch.
Hello there.
So this is actually pretty unique insofar as main game design missions go, in which we don't technically have an assassination target right now. Our goal is merely to traverse this area and get to Adamire Institute one way or the other. We don't actually have someone we need to kill in this mission. We could get by without taking out any single person.
Just remember to move slowly, and don't get too close to the nests.
This is one smile. All things, from the northernmost shores to here, Karnaca in the south.
Going through there puts us on the other side.
Oh, there should be a window. Locked door. I wonder if this is... Okay. You can break some doors with a pistol, so I like, but I forgot that's a metal door, so that won't work.
Another way to make the coin, and another way to get past the wall of light.
Oh, wall of light, you say? Thank you for the heads up.
I got news for them. It ain't never safe for the likes of me.
Don't tell me.
Everyone is looking for me. It might pay to be discreet.
I warned you. Please, you gave me no choice. Please? It's too late for that, Rapallo. Guess what happens next? This is how we get rid of snitches. Remember, if anyone asks, he just ran through it. Yeah,
So the cool thing about Serkonos is that people here use a lot of wind power. So instead of being powered by whale oil, some of the technologies are powered by literally windmills. Oh. I'll just jump. So if I pull this lever and turn off the windmill, that wall of light goes away.
Nothing here? Let's have a look around.
Poor Duder.
I just have to... Huh? Wonder what I'm dealing with. Wonder who that
Choke on your own spit. Alright, so... can try it. Is there something I can latch onto? Oh, really?
Void. There is something perverse in this.
Yoink! I'm going to try for a pacifist run. If I end up killing someone, oh well.
Karnaca was a lovely city once, before the Duke began choking the life out of the place. Before the Crown Killer started painting the walls red. Now you're here, and I have to wonder whether you're gonna give it that final nudge. Or pull it back from the edge. We've both seen cities go bad before. Vermin, blood, and betrayal. It's happening again. I hope you're ready.
Alright. And that's 2 runes. Oh, nope.
Move along. We're conducting a search for heretical artifacts.
What? Here? Listen, I only need
This area is restricted on the authority of the Abbey. No one is allowed inside.
Oh, fuck! Strong arms right off the bat! Game, you're beautiful. That's twice now in these streams where the first bone charm I got in the game was strong arms, and that is some really good luck. Really blessed luck going on right now.
You find another way. This, I think, is my highest praise.
Thank Christ for the strong arms. And once I get that bone charm crafting, oh boy, 4 times strong arms is gonna be beautiful. Oh man. I am lucky, especially because bone charms in this game are randomized. You can go, like they're locked in when you start the level, but you could end up going the entire game without getting the bone charm you actually want because you just don't get the pick. So the fact that I got strong arms so often is a fucking godsend. And strong arms is a very valuable bone charm because what it lets you do is let you choke people out faster. So I spend less time vulnerable when I'm doing my non-lethal run. Like that is such a valuable trait to have in this game that it's hard to overstate it. And just like how bone charms led to rats in the the first game, bone charms lead to bloat flies in this game. The mana regen, that's also valuable. I think they could actually use the crack in the slab mechanic, and we'll get to that in that mission as like a basis for a whole game. Like, what's especially I will get to it when we get to that mission, but that's a really good mechanic, and I look forward to exploring that with you guys. I mean, we need some refinement, Kelly, but I think it could actually work as a viable core mechanic.
Sometimes I wonder if it wouldn't be better to craft
charges from
music
everlasting
boxes
pain
each
and
here in the
suffering,
city.
to prevent even
Instead,
one
they're
among
made in
us
locations
from wandering
kept from
through
us
that
and
endless
shipped out.
night.
It seems
time
dangerous.
without end.
Far worse to have the knowledge of construction materials scattered across the Isles. The metals used to make the devices are unusually rare. The techniques, if applied by anyone but the most faithful, resolute overseers, would border on heresy.
I suppose you're correct. Only those grieves me to imagine what cultists might accomplish if they took the music boxes and perverted them to their own ends.
Exactly, brother. Much better to protect such a powerful tool. Assemble them in secret and dispatch them across the Empire where they're needed in the fight against the supernatural.
And all things in between. Trust in the Abbey, my friend.
Fuck, I might have to actually sleep dart this guy. That's really
Sisters.
infuriating.
Now,
I don't have any
this is
sleep
not
darts!
news to those of you living
Fuck!
through these times of crisis. But the sword that you're suffering
Fine.
What?
Leading this
Somebody's
city would
down.
gamble with all that he has built.
What the?
Very
Stop!
Let it go.
Okay.
Dare you? For the Abbey.
We're good. You killed your own, dude. That was on you, not me. Seven scriptures. There's a rune in there, so I'm gonna want that. I'm gonna have to look around for the combination because it's randomized. Wandering gaze, lying tongue, errant mind. Wandering gaze, lying tongue, errant mind. 1, 2, 7. Okay. So each of these scriptures has a number. And the 3 scriptures I saw in that note is each corresponds to one of the numbers in the combination of the safe. So wandering gaze was 1, lying tongue was 2, and errant mind was 7. And that is randomized. You have to look at that note. Like, you can't just memorize a number. You have to actually do the puzzle each time. So you can get a whole different set of virtues that lead to the combination of the safe, or I guess vices. Which I think, yeah, I agree with you, Ecole. That's a great idea. That like it's not a difficult puzzle, but you can't just memorize the solution. You have to actually solve it. But once you know how to solve it, then that basically fixes the problem there. It's not really that hard to solve. Speaking of runes, we're gonna have to end the stream soon, but we're gonna go as far as we can with this. Let's get Domino. Domino's a good power to have. Now we're just unlocking some base powers before we go consider some upgrades. Although I probably should have actually bought Bone Charm Crafting, which, whatever. I committed already. Too late.
This heretic's body is important, even though I don't fully understand the situation. We'll wait for the Vice Overseer.
When should Byrne arrive?
He's engaged currently. He'll send someone else. Maybe Overseer Kendana. Until then...
And these vents, if you had Corvo, you could use the rest to possess the rats and come crawl through here. If you're Emily, you have to use her her Shadow Walk power to assume a stealthier form that can go through the vents.
You're not supposed to be here. Into the room for you. I smell heresy on you.
The Strixhaven guide my hand.
Time to execute the blasphemer. I'll perform rites over your corpse.
I'll feed you to the hounds.
Okay. Yeah, I was a little too reckless. But honestly, it's really good to be playing Dishonored 2 again, because I've actually, ever since I started Dishonored 1 stream, I have missed this game quite a lot. I really enjoy playing through this particular Dishonored game. Interrogation key. So.
Hey, you! This area's off limits.
I'll perform right to execute the blasphemer!
Jesus. I forgot. Combat in my difficulty is brutal. Love is over. Let's have a pair. I'm just gonna wait for you to leave that room. Alright, Leah, let's do this instead.
Something is amiss.
Yeah, let's do that instead. And now for this biggin over here. Choke you, biggin. You've been choked. Stun mine! I love these things. Corrupted bone charm. Clumsy assassin. What does that do? Brief invisibility after choking or assassinating enemy, but in exchange, you are louder when making noise and more visible when leaning. Fuck that. Don't need that at all. But this body may be useful to me for reasons I have yet to actually explain, but I think I have to quest first, unfortunately, so I'm going to leave him here for now. If we get the quest to bring the body back to the quest giver, we'll do it, but as of right now, I have no use for his body. Now, there's a rune and a bone charm over there. Open and in public. The problem with that is that the reason they're open and in public is that the overseers are using them to represent heresy.
We do not recognize, and whose voices are strange to us. The girl was taken from her home the next night, locked in a cage of iron, and toppled into the canal. Her corruption was eradicated for the safety of all those who lived around her, all of you. We harden ourselves to the...
You saw something?
I don't want to dance! Someone!
Whew. That could have gone wrong.
Wherever you are.
Oh! Whoops. Bye!
Come at me then! The strictures guide my hand.
Oh, I should have used Domino. Before I had it.
Come on! I'll show them a fair fight. The likes of you. Abby! What? I smell heresy. I'll feed you to the house. Someone there?
Yeah, I should have just dominoed. Actually, before we end the stream, because we're about to end the stream, let's just demonstrate what Domino does. It's a very, very powerful ability. When talking about how they designed Emily's powers, they said they wanted to give her powers, quote, befitting of an empress. And this is a great example of that, actually. Domino here. Let me just come down here so we can actually use it.
And a few coins left by those within the Outsiders' wicked cabal. Those cursed figures who hunt and shamble just outside the lights of our city, whose faces we do not recognize, and whose voices are strange to us.
Domino is described as binding people's fates together.
Next night.
So by binding them like so,
of iron, and
by choking him out,
I know an agent of the Outsider when
I also choke him out.
by a stricture. Hey, you. This area is off limits. She can't escape.
Oh, what the hell? Okay, so this might be harder than I thought, but no matter. We're actually gonna stop here, but next time we'll continue our journey to Adamar Institute, and I will get that fucking Rune and Bone Charm one way or another. You don't have to fucking kill every single guard in that town to do it. Even if I have to kill every single fucking guard in this plaza to get that Rune and Bone Charm, I fucking will. But that is for another time. It's been a lively stream. There's a lot of people viewing today. So thank you to everyone who showed up. Thank you, Chris, for hosting, and thank you, Kelly, for being here. Thank you, Ecall, for your interest and attention and all of the comments you've been making in the chat. I appreciate every single person who watches even a minute of this content. Take care, and I will see you Wednesday for when Chris, who's in the chat, Acharki, Sam, and I continue our adventures with David Cage's disaster piece, Detroit Become Human. I'm about to say Become Two Souls. I keep trying to say Become Two Souls when it's Detroit Become Human. Take care. I will see you next time.